Yeah, beautiful. We're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And it's episode 6 of Wild Heart Sisterhood interviews. And I'm here with Beth today, a dear friend who is an animal communicator, animal intuitive, and is an incredible woman that I met a few years ago now. I don't over 15 years ago, I believe. Um, a little bit about these shows, everyone that's just popped in, maybe for the first time to listen or to watch or to feel into. I've had this incredible life where I've been able to travel globally and meet so many powerfully and beautiful women from all over the world. So I'm wanting to hold the sacred space of just getting to know the woman behind of what she offers into the world. Um, so, as you're dropping in these interviews, they cover various topics and various expressions of what women offer. So I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel that this interview will be posted later and enjoy today's conversation. Hi, Beth.
Hi,
Wonderful to
Patricia.
meet you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great to be here. Really, really appreciate being invited to be a part of Wild Heart Sisterhood. And I just want to share with you, like this morning when I got up, there was this beautiful, beautiful full rainbow. And I was like, what more of an auspicious symbol could there be for my day, to be interviewed with you? So thank you so much.
Oh, that's beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. Uh, Beth, you and I want to tell everybody a little story. Bill and I have an older dog. She just turned 15. Lily, for those of you that don't know her, she's an amazing border collie and quite a companion. And Beth came in to work with us with Lily, and we discovered many things, but one of the discoveries was that Lily loved carrots. So we're still giving her carrots that she loves. They're like her nightly treat. And part of when you came with us was a deeper awareness of how sensitive Lily is to us, to what's moving. We recognized it, when we had clients sit in front of us, that Lily really assures the clients when they're having a heart opening. She's right there. She's drawn to them and sits with them and helps them ground and comforts them. So tell us a little bit about what an animal communicator is, animal intuitive, for those that are interested in inquiring or haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we're basically a liaison. So I'm a liaison between you and your furry companion, your pets. I get to connect and tune into your animals and on a deeper way than most people. I don't know, that's changing. A lot of people don't even realize is there, for and with their pets. And so I get to tune in, connect with your pet, and help the two of you bridge what's probably a gap in, those questions of wondering, well, what is my animal thinking? What is it that they need? Are they happy? Different things like that. And, those questions that they come up in our minds because we love them deeply and we care. And so I get the privilege of being able to connect the two of you in a way that creates even a deeper bond than however deep it is right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And, when you're connecting with all the animals and working with the humans, is there like a few commonalities that show up for the animals for your sessions? What do you find?
Well, there are some commonalities. One of the things that when I first started out doing this, I was a newbie and just happy that I was getting the feedback from people that, yeah, that's like totally right on, So that was then. And as I, did this more and more over the years, I actually started finding out that, there is a commonality. There's a commonality between what our animals are experiencing and what might be going on in our own life or somebody in the family or a caretaker. And so it might be a general stress. It might be digestive issues. It might be showing anxiety. And so I get to, look at that. The way that I do it is I usually work with the animal, and then the things that come up, then I'm also talking with, the pet parent and asking questions. Hey, well, this is what I see. Is anybody, you or anybody else, experiencing something like this? And then we can energetically work with that. Or it's for the pet, but it's then also for the family. So the things that I find that are similar, are these things that might be emotional, or they might be physical, or they might be something on a spiritual level. Every case is different, but there's that similarity.
Beautiful. And, as you're speaking, I'm reflecting into that I've had animals all my life. They've been a very big part of my life and all the different phases of life, carrying through loss, carrying through celebration, carrying through, the comfort and the experience of life itself. Is there any experience that you can share, that you have permission to share with us? Some of the animals you've worked with and what you noticed and what you experienced. We would love to hear a couple of stories, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to actually start with the miracle that I actually had in my own life. So it was before I was an animal communicator, but it's actually what brought me here. Like, it led me to do what I'm doing right now. And that's a story about Pax. And Pax is a dog who, I don't know, years ago, how old was I? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I was going to some training. And at that point in my life, like, I was so deathly afraid of dogs, which just seems so foreign to me today. But Pax was this dog that seemed really big. And he was a medium-sized dog looking back, but he seemed so big and scary. And he was between where I needed to go for my class and where I was. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get to where I need to go? And so I don't know. I heard this voice that says, get down nose to nose. And I didn't think that was a good idea at all. But I did it. And when I did that, Pax licked my face. He licked my nose, licked my face. And I'm telling you, Patricia, that was it. All fear of dogs went away in that instant. And so I know that our animals' love can cure and can melt away anything.
Yeah.
So that's my personal story, and I attribute Pax to why I do what I do, how I got here. He cleared the way for me to, pursue my curiosity about animal communication along the way. So that's the first story. A story that I have with a Sheltie, that he was my first animal client. And, I actually met him at an event for Halloween. It was called Halloween event. And so they were all dressed up and I was there to communicate with the animals. And so Sammy is his name, came up with his two pet parents, and, we had a chat. And from that, they decided, to come do some more work with me. And one of the things that Sammy shared with me was, why he was there with his dad, his pet dad. And the purpose that they came together. And they came together so that his dad could actually heal some things that he was working with, both physically, but also on the emotional and the spiritual levels. And Sammy was his support, not only his support, but it was like he was his partner. Sammy was his partner. That's what he came for. He didn't become the partner. And so I worked with them over the years. And, Sammy would, when I first met him, he was feeling arthritic, as many dogs do in their hips and depending on the breed. And he had those things going on. And so he had kind of lost interest in playing with his ball and, things like tug of war. And after we worked, his dad, let me know that, like, what did you do? What did you do? He's like a puppy. He's playing the tug of war. He's, doing these things. And so that was just the beginning. And as I said, I had the privilege of working with them, through Sammy's transition, actually. And their partnership just went through, like you mentioned earlier, Patricia, the losses, the wanting to support them through some really tough times with their relationship, situational things. And so we just, it was such a blessing, and so Sammy was able to help them in that. And then when he crossed, then I communicated with Sammy again, in order to connect them for things that weren't quite complete, so that's one story. Let's see another story, recently I've been asked, with so much happening in the world with, the energy, and there are a lot of people actually making their transitions. There are a lot of animals who are ready to go too. And so I have, been asked by quite a few people, to communicate with their animals for the last time, and, are they ready to go? And I had one client recently who, it was her cat who was passing, and, I cried during the communication because it was so sacred. Her cat was able to let her know why they were here together now. However, why he was leaving, what he was going to be doing on the other side that's helping us all through this transition time.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So, I can't express enough what a privilege and what an honor it is to help people in the different phases and the reasons for, why we come together.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because just as you said that, your video cleared.
The
You
video
know,
cleared.
cleared, yeah, because sometimes when you're doing these lives, the videos go in and out. There's a lot of energy on our technology right now. And so as you said that, the whole video cleared. It's quite beautiful.
Wow.
They're coming together and they're recognizing that, it's not only who we are here, it's who we choose to be on the other side also.
Right.
So, and whatever that is, which is, as you and I have spoken to many times before, outside of the human's ability to perceive,
Mhm. Right.
Which is
Definitely.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and the story that I just told too plays into, we oftentimes don't realize that our animals do have messages for us and they do have purpose, purpose beyond, a cozy comfort sitting next to me, that I get to pet and, it feels good for them and it feels good for me. And, we know that we have questions for our animals, and there are things that, they want to know from us as well. But even bigger than that, and this is the piece that I think is new for many people, is they want us to know that we have a purpose, and they want to give us these messages that they have for us, that will help us either through whatever it is, or if we're in creation mode, hey, did you think about this? Do this. A lot of times people also don't realize just how much our animals know what's going on.
Yeah, how aware they are. How
Exactly.
sensitive they are. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And so they love being able to, input and help out in those ways. Because ultimately, the majority of animals are here because they want to be in service. They are in service to us on so many different levels.
In service, in purpose, and with us for a reason. Yeah, for
Exactly.
many.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, as you're speaking, what keeps coming in for me is when you had the opportunity to work with, unfortunately, through America, the fires can happen, and the animals are so impacted by those wildfires. And I remember a few years ago, you had the opportunity to work with some of those animals
I did.
that had survived the wildfires and had great loss within themselves, that they were the survivors. Maybe you can speak a little bit about that.
Right. Well, even those, so it was horses. And even though some of them had not been directly like in the fires, they went through the evacuation process and all the trauma that's related to that. And, the not knowing. And yes, they can smell the smoke. I mean, even if it's not right there, so there was a lot of trauma associated with that. And so I went and, I talked with them. I did some energy work, so some Reiki and other things to help them calm. And then I also did some clearing of that trauma, and I'm calling it trauma because really it is. I mean, just think about it for ourselves. It's stress, right? And our animals are so sensitive that they had their own stress in that fire, but they also had, the stress of all the people around them wanting to save the animals, wanting to save themselves, their property, whatever they could. I mean, that is an intense time. And so, there's a lot of residual with that. And there was one horse that they actually had evacuated, and then they came back to the property. And the horse was, very dehydrated. And so I stayed with it as it was getting its fluids, talked to it, let it know everything's, it's an adjustment. You just had all this excitement and it's okay. You're safe now. And just having, him relax more into that and receive the fluids more easily. That's another thing when we're stressed. Our body doesn't take in, everything as easily and assimilate. So that was an experience as well. It was quite a day, and just, again, I feel honored that I can help in this way.
Yeah, beautiful. So Beth, we're going to have different people listening to this audio. There are those that are curious, those that have animals, those that are wanting to know more, perhaps those that are actually called to learn to learn to be an animal intuitive communicator. So all those people that have these hearts that are wanting to connect so deeply to their animals, what would you like to say to them? What would you like them to know?
Well, I want you to know, first off, that a deep, deep connection is very possible. And I believe that every one of us has the ability to connect and communicate with our animals. Sometimes we may be a little too close to a situation to be able to stay out of our mind and, let spirit and the heart hear what's happening, which is another reason why people, call upon me. I do want you to know that we all have it in us, and there's some simple things that you can do to play with it, to play and, get a little more confidence and know that, yes, I do have this in me. You can look into your pet's eyes and ask a question, and this, without filtering, just see what you hear or what is felt. Play with it in that way. That's one thing. You can also, I think that you can also do something that's completely unrelated to your animals, but I think it's more fun doing it with your animals. Like, you can work with a partner and ask, have them think of a color or a shape, and then you can play with saying what shape it is, what color it is, those kinds of things. So that's just so that you can start playing and feeling more confident. I suggest that anyone and everyone be trained, in communicating with their animals if that's of interest to you. And it can be just for the sole reason of being able to connect more deeply, with your animal, or it can be to help others like I'm doing. So yeah, I want people to know that it's possible. Like, there is a lot possible that we maybe would have never dreamed.
Yeah, beautiful. And then, what I wanted to talk about a little bit too is about you, my experience of you. And Beth and I met quite a few years ago, and I was actually doing a workshop with my now husband, a relationship workshop, and we were in Texas. And I remember a sentence that you said to me as I was struggling to let go of some old pain and open to a new way to communicate with my now husband. And one thing I don't know if you remember, but you said to me is, Patricia, you can choose to get off that train and go on a new one. And for some reason, in that divine moment, right in that space, what you revealed to me, what you shared with me, spoke volumes to what was happening in my life. And,
Mm.
and when I witnessed you and was with you, and our time together has grown and expanded and moved and become friendship. And we continue to grow together, just sharing with everyone. We continue to explore. We have all these different similar expressions, yet a different way that we deliver that expression. For all those listening, the beauty of Beth, is that of your groundedness, and you're bringing it with a lot of clarity and simple and warm and heartfelt and very compassionate. So I feel like to mention that, because sometimes when you're trying something new and you're going, oh, you have a tender relationship with your pet.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of curiosity and willingness to be open to do it differently, and be okay that you may not hear your pet, that
Right.
it may take another to hear and be a communicator for you. And be okay with that. It's nothing that you've done wrong, or nothing that, you didn't see. Like, I'm saying this because I know that some people's relationships with their animals are so close. And to know that it's always such a beautiful fullness to allow yourself to experience another bringing in a different avenue or a different glimpse of what's possible. And, as you were saying, as we're growing and expanding in our humanity, so is our animals, all of them, whether they're pets or wild. So how do we want to hold that container even more and even deeper still? What's
Exactly.
available? Yeah.
Exactly. And thank you for that. And you're also reminding me that grounding, and it's true that the more grounded we are, right, the more centered we are, the more clear, the more we can flow, go with the flow. It is the same with our animals as well. So grounding our animals is important. And, I'll tell you my website later on, but I have a process that's housed over there that you can use to ground your animals. And this is an especially important time because everything is so wild, so energetically charged. And if your pets get to go outside and be in the grass and be with the trees and the flowers a lot, that's good. That is how they're grounding. If they don't get to go out a lot, then you want to ground them every day, at least once a day, depending on the situations that are going on. And the only time you wouldn't want to ground your pets is if they are in their process of transition.
Yeah.
Grounding them at that time makes it a little more challenging for them to have the freedom to leave their physical body. So that's the only time that you wouldn't want to. And I always, when I'm working with an animal, the first thing that I do with the sessions, with the experiences, is to ground them. I first ask, is it okay to ground this animal at this time? And again, if they're not making their transition, it's always a yes. So
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, Beth, go ahead and share, how people can get a hold of you, because we're kind of coming to a close of the interview.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we'll interview again somewhere down the road for a catch up.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so share for those that are listening, how would they get a hold of you?
Great. So my website is my name, bethriedler.com. And you can see that on the screen. It's Riedler. And I have blogs and I have some tools over there that you can use. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. I just got myself back on Instagram and it's fun. I'm having some fun over there. So any of those places, you can contact me. And if it's okay to mention right now, Patricia, until November 23rd, I actually have my Fur Baby Speaks communication experience, for half off.
Oh, beautiful.
So, this would be a fantastic time if somebody's curious or they have questions for their animals. And you can get that information from my website as well.
And is it correct to say you don't necessarily have to be with the animal? Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the way that I do it, thank you for asking that question, because everybody does it a little bit differently. I do my work remotely. So it's like tuning into a radio station, right? You connect with those frequencies. And so we'll schedule the appointment. The animal can be doing whatever they want, wherever they want. You don't even have to be present. I will connect with the animal, do the work, have the conversation, send a report, and then we'll get on the phone and we'll chat. So it's really convenient for everybody, because you don't have to be a certain place at a certain time or even get online. So yes, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Well, thanks, Beth, for joining us today on Sunday and bringing in our lovely creatures on the planet, our four-legged, more communication, more union, which is always beautiful in our humanity. And thanks so much. And I look forward to witnessing all that you bring. And I'm a follower on your social media page. So I look forward to your stories and all that is happening. So thanks for joining us. And this video will go live on our Wild Heart Sisterhood YouTube channel for all those that want to check in later. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. Much love.
Much love to you too.